Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Happy Wednesday. I'm excited to be back after last week, a little unplanned time off there. I'm just going to wait just 1 minute to make sure that everybody is hopping on and make sure that we are live, because as you guys know, if you've been in the group with me for a while, I have had issues in the past where I thought I was live and I actually wasn't. So say hi as you guys are hopping on. Let me know you're here. Let me know that you can see me. We have tons of new people in the group. So for those of you that are new, I'm Jerry. I'm the founder of Profit Illumination Academy, and I use StreamYard here for my live stream. So please give them permission just for me to see your comments so that I'm able to see your name. Otherwise, I just see like a little blank picture and no name, so I don't know who I'm talking to. If you don't want to, that's totally okay. I just won't be able to really talk as personally to you. So today we are talking about 5 steps to overcome analysis paralysis, self-sabotage, whatever you want to call it, because it's all connected, right? So if you are self-sabotaging your goals, if you are stuck in analysis paralysis, meaning it takes you forever to make any decisions in your business, or you're constantly battling imposter syndrome, here's the thing. That is the reason that you are not hitting your monthly goals. You are the reason that you're not hitting your monthly goals, right? And I feel like I'm just giving you a little bit of tough love here, right? Because you can learn all the strategies, you can get more certifications, you can do that all day long. But if you are coming up with excuses and you're having difficulty making decisions and just plowing forward, it's all related to you. And so as people are hopping on, I just wanted to, say thank you for bearing with me while I was out last week. I had to take last week off. So first I got mastitis. Any breastfeeding mamas probably know about that. And then I had a severe reaction to the antibiotics. My tongue got super swollen and blistered. It was awful. I couldn't eat or talk for like 4 days. I'm still using lidocaine in my mouth now to make it bearable to talk, but it's definitely getting way better. And I'm not saying any of this to complain or to whine. You guys know I usually don't get up here and talk about myself. I just felt like it was really worth mentioning, since our whole topic this week is overcoming that analysis paralysis and all of the excuses. Now, I want to be super clear here because I was really sick, right? Anybody that hasn't had mastitis knows you get a fever and chills, and it feels like you have a flu, but you also have pain. It's awful. So I took time off, right? I skipped our live last week. I took some time to rest and to heal. But then when I had the antibiotic reaction, besides the fact that I couldn't eat and talk, I otherwise felt fine. So I could have used that as an excuse to not continue doing any work in my business. And if this would have happened 2 years ago, I would have used it as an excuse. But instead, I said, okay, what other things can I focus on in my business that don't require me to talk, right? Which can be kind of hard when a huge part of your business is live streams. But I took the time to write out all my content for the next month. And then that is done. I took the time to reach out and welcome all of the new members that have been joining this Facebook group, right? So I'm going to say it again. If you're not hitting your monthly goals, you are the reason why. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of tough love. You can have all kinds of excuses, right? I don't have a big enough audience. Nobody shows up to my live streams. Nobody comments on my posts. I don't know how to sell. It feels icky to sell. I don't have time. I don't have money. But the truth is, if you weren't scared and you were 1,000% sure that you would actually succeed, you would find a way to overcome all of those excuses. That's it. You would, right? And don't worry, we're all guilty of this at some point in our lives. I can speak to this because I am like the queen of all of the excuses and the analysis paralysis and the self-sabotage. So that's why I can speak on this, and I can tell you how I finally got over it. So that's what we're going to talk about today, right? How do we stop that cycle, right? How do you stop self-sabotaging and finally push through and reach your goals. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it self-sabotage. You can call it imposter syndrome. You can call it being scared or not feeling like you're good enough, whatever it is. But it can stop you in your tracks even when you have the best laid plans and goals, right? And usually in business, it's going to look something like, tell me, you guys, do you do this? Do you edit and then re-edit your pictures and your captions for your posts and then re-edit it again and then read it? It takes you like 2 hours to do one post. Or maybe for you, it comes up as being scared to go live, or you feel awkward about going live. Or maybe it's even people that don't even comment when somebody else is talking, right? Let me know. Do any of those sound like you? Okay, because if you're doing any of those, you are the reason you are not hitting your goals. And the thing is you may not even realize that that's what you're doing. It may come up, I've always been a procrastinator, right? I just can't help it. Or, well, I had to clean the house. I had to cook dinner. I didn't have time to put on makeup and I looked like crap, so I couldn't go live. All of these valid excuses. I see some yeses coming in, right? So it feels valid to you. So you don't even realize that that's what you're doing, that these are excuses. So what I want you to figure out is it, because it looks different for everyone, is it a fear of success? Is it a fear of failure? Is it a fear of not being able to deliver results to your clients, right? Is it a fear of judgment? Is it just fear of thinking, I'm not good enough, I can't compete with all those other coaches out there that do the same thing, right? I don't know how to stand out in the crowd. So why do we do this to ourselves? There's so many different reasons. Fear of failure, yes. I see it all coming in, yeah. It's all totally normal. I've experienced all of them. So there's different reasons, but here's a few of the big reasons that we self-sabotage and get stuck in this analysis paralysis. One is self-worth. You feel undeserving of success or happiness. You think you're not good enough, which, by the way, is not true. Let's just get that out of your system right now. It could be, like for me, a big one was that I didn't believe or trust in myself, right? I didn't think that I was good enough to be able to do it. Or it could be that you failed in the past at something, so you just feel like that's the way that it's always going to be for you. And you say things like, it just never works for me, or it's just not supposed to happen for me. Or maybe you say, yeah, I'm going to do it for real this time. And then all those excuses start popping up. Or it could be the fear of something different, right? Something outside of your comfort zone. People like to be consistent. And a lot of times we even tend to choose, this is just human nature, we tend to choose consistency and staying in our comfort zone over our own happiness. And so what do I mean by that, right? It's almost that where you are now, at least you know what to expect. It's in your comfort zone, right? And even though you might not be super happy about it, you know what you're going to get and you know that it's okay. Versus the fear of the unknown, not knowing what's on the other side if you actually step outside of your comfort zone. The fear of the possible hurt, the possible pain, the possible rejection feels worse in our minds. So we just tend to stay stuck, right? And so I know for me, when I was starting my business, the biggest issues were what I was saying, feeling like I'm not good enough, but fear of judgment was huge. I was so worried about what people were going to think of me when I went live or when I posted, or like, were they going to roll their eyes? And especially like people from high school or whatever, they'd be like, what the heck is she doing? She doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, she was a nurse, right? All of those things. And so for me, it showed up what I was saying earlier. I would edit and re-edit my picture and caption. It would take me hours to put out one post. I did everything humanly possible to avoid making video and live streams part of my marketing strategy because I was terrified. My voice would get shaky. My heart would start pounding. And then it was even more embarrassing because people could hear my voice shaking. It was awful. And so then it showed up as me saying things like, well, I don't like the background that I have, so I have to fix the background first, and I have to clean up everything, and I'm not in the shape I want to be in, or whatever it was. There was always an excuse. Or I need to get this new certification, and then I'll be able to start my course. Then I'll know more, and then I can land more clients. And what I realized was that I was the one holding myself back. I didn't need a new strategy. I didn't need another certification. I just needed to believe in myself and take the leap. Because when you start doing things, then you figure out what works and what doesn't. Then you get feedback, and then you can take the next step, and then you can optimize, and then it gets better and better. And that's when everything changed for me. When I decided to quit overthinking, when I decided to get out of that analysis paralysis and overanalyzing everything and just do it, no matter how much I didn't want to. Even when my voice was shaking, I would close my eyes and hit go live and just do it. Even though I was just reading word for word and I was just staring at the screen because that was the best I could do at the time because my mind would go blank, I kept doing it, and then it got easier. Same thing with the posts. I would just post it even though I wasn't happy with it. So I know, so much easier said than done, right? So how are you going to stop this self-sabotaging cycle? How are you going to take that first step so that you can start getting the feedback? How are you going to overcome your overthinking and your fears, or however it shows up to you? So first, I want you to keep in mind that this is your subconscious that's holding you back. It's something that you learned in your life, probably before the age of 7, and your subconscious took it in as the truth, right? And its sole purpose is to protect you. And the key to stopping this behavior is to understanding why you're doing it. And then you can find a healthier way to fill that void and stop that behavior. And so here's the thing. You've probably heard before that your subconscious is 95% of your thoughts throughout the day. So basically your subconscious rules over your thoughts for the day. But I just read this. I was reading a book. I'm always reading a mindset, personal development book. And this just really put it into a different perspective for me. Did you know that your conscious mind has the ability to process 40 bits of information per second? 40 bits per second, that's your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind has the ability to process 40 million bits per second. 40 bits for your conscious mind, 40 million bits for your subconscious mind. Let me know if you guys knew that, because that just put it in a different perspective than the 95% to the 5% for me. And what it made me realize is, holy crap. No wonder it is so hard for us to overcome this programming, overcome this self-sabotage and this fear, right? Because we're competing with 40 million bits per second that we don't even realize our subconscious is processing. So this is not something that's going to happen overnight. Those 40 million bits per second that your subconscious is taking in, the only purpose of your subconscious mind is to protect you. So anything it perceives, physical or mental, anything that it perceives as something that could possibly hurt you physically or mentally, it is going to try to protect you from that. So we are trying to compete 40 bits per second with 40 million bits per second. So yes, I'm about to give you 5 steps, but I want you to keep telling yourself that day after day. This is something that I have to keep working at it. I'm still working at it because it's not going to happen overnight, because you are competing with the other 95% of your brain trying to overcome that. So you've got to remind yourself over and over and over again. Okay, so step 1. Yeah, I see a little mind blown emoji. Yes, my mind was blown when I read that. Okay. Understand, this is step 1, understand the need that your self-sabotage fills. So for example, I can trace my fear of public speaking back to when I was in elementary school. This took me a long time. I didn't even realize it until I started really focusing on where did this come from? We were doing a play. It was actually for those of you that are my age, I'm 41, might remember the Say No to Drugs, the whole big thing, the DARE program. We were doing a play, the school play for the Say No to Drugs, and I got up there to say my lines and my mind just went completely blank. It was like 5 words. I will have to get you the name of the book. I'll look and I'll comment later because I can't remember it off the top of my head. But I got up there and I couldn't remember my 5 words. My mind just like went blank. And then I got super nervous. And so then anytime after that in school, when I was supposed to talk in front of people, my subconscious, I didn't know this is what was happening at the time, would make me freeze up. It would try to protect myself. It would tell me that I didn't want to do this. And then when I went to nursing school, we had to give these presentations. I knew that I was going to get nervous, right? This thought was already playing in my head of how you're going to get nervous. Your voice is going to shake. You're going to forget what you're going to say. Like, try to get out of this because it's going to be so embarrassing. You're not going to look professional. You're going to look like you're stupid, right? And so it was just this story that I was telling myself that wasn't true. And it was all my subconscious trying to protect myself. So I had to learn how to reprogram my mind. And it definitely did not happen overnight, right? It took a long time to get there. But now I'm here with, I don't know if you guys can see it, baby toys in the background. If you were here at the beginning of the video, you heard me talking about my tongue, my reaction to the antibiotics. So I literally have a mouthful of lidocaine. I painted my tongue with lidocaine so that I could actually talk and get through this, because now I know what's important. And now I know that that was just a story that I was telling myself. So that's step 1. You've got to figure out where is this self-sabotage? Where is this fear stemming from? What is the false story that I'm telling myself? And you may not be able to pinpoint it to an exact experience like I can, or it may be something that somebody, like an adult in your life, just happened to say, just passing by, right? But you got to kind of pinpoint something, because that's how you're going to start to get over it. So first, identify where those thoughts, fears are coming from. It may be a bunch of different things. Get out a journal if you need to. Figure out where it's coming from. Step 2, identify alternative healthy behaviors that are going to help that, right? So to use that same example, I forced myself to take a yoga teacher training, even though I was terrified. And I knew that it was going to mean me practicing in front of people, right? But 1, I paid in full so that I couldn't back out instead of doing the payment plan. And then 2, I felt like that was a good way to ease myself into it, because what I could do was memorize the cues, memorize the lines. And so it was all memorization. I wasn't actually really showing my true self. Now, when I started my own business, I quickly realized that just memorizing the lines wasn't going to cut it, because if people couldn't see the real me, they weren't going to connect. They weren't going to feel any connection to me, and then they weren't going to want to work with me. But that came much later, right? If I hadn't taken that first step, like I mentioned, when I started my business, I was literally reading. When I would finally go live, I was reading line for line. It was just me staring at the screen like this with no personality, because that was all I could do, right? And sometimes you could hear my voice shaking. But then that was the first step. Then I got more and more comfortable with it. So step 1, identify where it's coming from. Step 2, what are their alternative healthy behavior that you can do, right? Even when it's super uncomfortable, okay? Step 3, anticipate the roadblocks, because they are going to happen, right? And when I say roadblocks, it's basically excuses, right? I have to clean up. I have to take care of the kids. I have to cook. I have to finish my website before I go live so that I look professional. Those are all excuses, right? Are the kids going to be crying in the background? You guys have seen me here with my newborn on my lap because I couldn't get her to sleep. Ditch the excuses. If you have to, I'm not telling you, I don't want this to come out wrong, but if you have to, set the kids up with a movie for 30 minutes. If they come and bother you in the middle of a live stream, oh well, that's real life, right? Do you need to stay up a little bit later to meal prep so that you don't have that excuse? What I used to do was I would post and tell people I was going to live over and over again so that then I had to because other people were relying on me. So how can you try to avoid those roadblocks, those excuses as much as possible, but still know they're going to come up and you're going to push through anyways? It's so easy to stick to new behaviors when everything's going perfectly, right? But have a plan in place, plan, so that you don't have that excuse when it comes up, okay? Step 4, you're going to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Somebody type that in the comments for me. Drill that into your brain. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because it doesn't matter where you are in your business, right? When you're starting out, it's going to be the posts and the live streams that make you uncomfortable. Then it's going to be hiring your first employees that make you uncomfortable. Then it's going to be scaling to 7 figures that makes you uncomfortable. There's always going to be something. So if you're going to own your own business, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I want to see that in the comments. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You can have all the plans and strategies in the world. You can do all of the mindset. You can repeat this to yourself over and over again. But what are you going to do in the moment when your emotions are running high? What are you going to do when life gets uncomfortable? Thank you, Janine. Like I mentioned, I put myself in the uncomfortable situation of signing up for the yoga teacher training. I put myself in the uncomfortable situation of showing up on live streams, even when my voice was shaking and my heart was pounding. I kept showing up anyways, and then it got easier. And it did not happen overnight. You have to slowly build up tolerance. Remember that your mind is like a muscle, right? You can't work out once and expect to show up in amazing shape the next day. You have to keep working at it day after day. It is the same exact thing with your mindset. Be okay with not always being okay. Be okay with not always being okay, and find what triggers those thoughts, what triggers those fears for you so that you can identify them and find a solution for them. So that's step 4. Step 5 is I want you to get clear on your values and your dreams, right? And I'm sure you've heard people say, find your why, right? Once you get clear on your why and your goals, then everything's going to be great. But that's a lot easier said than done. Yes, you do need to find your why and you need to get clear on your dreams and your goals. But I'm going to give you an example. For me, thinking I'm going to hit 10K months seemed really far off until I did it. Then thinking I'm going to hit 30K months seemed really far off again, right? So what made it easier for me was to focus on things that were tangible. Like I want to be able to pay for my kids' preschool without that taking out of our monthly budget. That felt like something tangible. Then I want to be able to take, little 3-day weekend getaways that we can drive to. And again, it not take out of our monthly budget and not stress while we're there. Do whatever we want. Go out to eat, go skiing, whatever, and not feel like, oh my gosh, now we're going to have to stress when we get home. That felt so much more tangible for me. Then it turned into bigger things. Like I want to remodel my kitchen without pulling out money in the savings account. So when focus on those tiny little stepping stone goals that actually seem tangible and realistic. And then everything that you're doing, like I'm scared to go live. But guess what? I can have that kitchen if I keep doing it. Or guess what? I can pay for my kids' private school if I keep doing this. Having that one focus in mind makes it so much easier to get to that little goal. And then your goals will get bigger and bigger. Okay. That was a huge thing for me for hitting that next level, is making it more tangible. So those are the 5 steps. So if you are ready to stop making excuses, if you are ready to get over this analysis paralysis and this self-sabotage and step up and scale to 10K plus months, whatever that looks like for you, I want to invite you to my free 5-day Crickets to Clients workshop. If you are ready to discover how to authentically and confidently show up on live streams, book out your business, and create 10K plus months, then say workshop in the comments and I'll send you the link to get you signed up for it. It's going to be starting on August 16th. And yes, there will be replays, but you're going to learn how to speak your client's language so that your messaging and your marketing is on point. And every time you show up to do a live or make a post or whatever it is, you know that you're talking to the people that actually want to buy from you. You're going to learn a step-by-step strategy, how to use live streams to book out your biz and turn your audience into clients, and how to pitch effortlessly, how to do it without feeling weird or sleazy. Sadie says, already signed up. Can't wait. Awesome, Sadie. Bootcamp, please, Janine says. Awesome. Workshop, yes. So again, even you guys that are watching the replay, comment below workshop, and I will send you guys a link. Everybody commenting now, I will send you guys the link shortly. And have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys in the Facebook group. And then, of course, I will see you guys next Wednesday. And again, thank you guys for bearing with me while I skipped last week. I love you guys. I truly mean that. I don't mean it to sound like touche or like something that I just spit out. I love supporting you guys, and I love seeing the same names and seeing you guys show up day after day or week after week. It means so much to me. So again, you guys that are ready to step up and ditch the excuses, say workshop, and I will send you that link, and I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.